So in today's video, I'm going to show you how to use your foam roller to actually restructure your body. So the first thing that we're going to start with is upper rib cage area. So you're going to grab your foam roller and I'm going to lay on it here. I'm going to start to do some thoracic extension. So I'm going to put my hands behind my head and just kind of slowly start to roll down. Maybe if you're lucky, you'll get a couple of good pops in your spine. Okay. And then I'm going to kind of just start to let my knees fall to the side and twist and twist. And I'm going to do this just a bit speedier today just so I can make sure that I'm touching on everything. But when you're doing this yourself, you can take as long as you need in any of these positions. Some of them you may feel like, yeah, I'm good. That feels like, don't need to focus on there. But you may hit some things where you're like, ooh, I need to spend some time on this, okay? So right now I'm kind of just warming my body up to the roller. I'm starting to move around and just get a sense of what my body needs. So the next one I want to do is I'm actually going to take my leg, put one leg out straight, and I'm going to rotate all the way down, trying to get my knee down. From here, you can tell this is an area I need to work on. From here, I'm going to allow my body to just drape over the foam roller. And then take some deep breaths. I can actually feel this pull through here. So this rib for me sticks out in the front. So I know that this is an area that it needs some fascial release. So I actually feel it down here, even though the foam roller is up here. So that's a fascial line that I am working on right now. So now I'm kind of leaning sideways into my rib cage. I just found a spot that feels very sensitive. So I'm breathing and I'm trying to get really heavy on the roller. It's very sensitive where the roller is, but I actually feel it through my chest as well. And then you can work on each individual rib and release each rib. So I can move up just a little bit and then try to lean and drape yourself over again. You can even work yourself all the way to the front and get through here and work yourself through each individual rib. And we can kind of keep rotating and be intuitive with it. Do what your body feels like it needs. Nothing is right or wrong, except for you do want to make sure that you're not sitting on anything that feels sharp, hot, or very tingly, okay? All right, so we can do that on both sides. The other thing that I like to do for rib cage and kind of chest area is you can actually foam roll your chest. So I'm going to start with my hands on the roller and kind of just, I'm going to hold the mic actually so this doesn't get in the way, but you'll put your hands down on the roller and lower yourself so that way the foam roller is at the top of your chest, and then just allow yourself to drape over. So this for me is not too bad yet. I can introduce some rotation by rotating my legs. Okay, that just popped a couple of things. And this front part of my ribs here, this is pretty sensitive. So this might be an area that I spend some time doing. And then I can even foam roll into my armpit. And then I could open myself back up if I want, like this. Okay. Then I could rotate, do the other side. So let me come back to that original position here. I can also get the roller a little bit lower. Yes, ladies, you can roll this area. It is going to be sensitive. So ease yourself onto it. Okay, this feels like pressure. So I'm just going to take some deep breaths. And then after I spend some time here, I would come back to that rotation. So even just rotating this amount, which is just a little bit, my hips are pointed totally at the camera. This is an area that I feel very tense on. I'm going to extend my left arm all the way forward. This completely changes it. I'm going to reach and try to touch this window, really, really reach. And then I'm going to maybe very slowly, you can tell this is my biggest weak spot on my body. This hurts quite a bit for me. But I'm going to very slowly kind of just rotate And again, when you're doing this on your own, you want to really spend some time on each of these spots. I'm moving through this faster just so you have a good understanding of what you're doing. But like, girl, you can lay here for like 5 minutes on one spot, just whatever your body is telling you need to do. There's also some areas that might feel intense and your body might be like, okay, we've had enough there. That's okay. That's fine too. But we'll do that. And then you would do the same for the other side. So the next thing is I want to get a little bit lower on my ribs so you can feel where your bottom rib is. And I'm going to, let me put my microphone back. Here. Okay, so this is on my bottom rib, and I'm going to lay on the side, start to just allow myself to drape over. So if you are higher than that bottom rib, you're probably going to feel, it's going to feel a little sensitive. You can actually lean your body back. I like to actually use this hand and grab the roller. So get intuitive with it, right? Like you may feel this and you're like, well, this feels like it could be something. Let me try if I change something. Oh, there it really is. So be intuitive. Again, I'm feeling this a lot right here, actually. And then I could do the same thing, nice and slow, but get it from the front. Like that. Now I want to move to where I'm actually have the roller below that rib. Now this is going to be that, but even more intense. So we're going to lean into the back. I'm going to actually see if I rotate this way, if I feel it a bit more. Nope, I feel it more like this. Okay. This one's quite intense for me, so I'm going to leave this here. And then I would stay there and hold that and continue to work on that. And then same thing, keeping the roller below that rib. I'm going to lean to the side. There might be some areas where you're like, I need to do a little bit of movement. You have to stay relaxed throughout this, otherwise it won't work. This kind of stuff that I'm doing, like right along this lower rib, is going to be really good. If your ribs poke out in the front, they flare open. This is going to help you release that. You might notice that after you do some foam rolling, you have a lot of really deep exhales. That's a good thing. That's actually your body releasing some of that pressure, some of that tension, and going into more of a parasympathetic, aka a rest and digest state, which is a good thing. The next thing that can also really help that rib flare, which is also just really good for everybody, is your diaphragm. So right where those bottom ribs are, we're actually going to put the roller right there. So again, I'm going to put my hands on the roller and I'm going to ease myself onto it. You may need to start up like this and just get used to it because this can be quite intense, especially if you've never done it. I'm going to start to allow myself to drape over the roller more. This feels quite intense for me. I can feel my heart really beating here. So I'm going to hang out here for a second. And then once you get used to it, again, you can start to rotate and basically just do everything you did before. We're just doing it lower. Sometimes it's really useful to, like, for example, I might do this where my couch is right there. I could hook my bottom foot onto my couch. Oh, and then really stretch my leg that way. That gives me a totally different sensation. So with foam rolling, you could do this same pose, but right now my bottom leg is relaxed. Now my bottom leg is reaching to that wall, completely changes what I'm doing on the roller. So play around. Don't just be so static, right? Be intuitive. Listen to your body. Reach and stretch and do whatever you feel like you need. There, so, all right. So that is how we get this upper area. That's how we get the sides. You can get through your armpits just like that. That's how you release some of your abdominals. So let's do a little bit more of the pelvis, right? So if our pelvis is dumped forward, we've got to do a few things for that. So I'm going to start with the roller on my low back now. Now, I will say, if you have a back injury, you're going to want to really ease yourself into this. It may be too intense, which is okay. You can skip over this one. But I'm actually going to lean back and I'm going to put my legs, my feet are bent. My knees are bent, feet are flat. If you feel okay here, you can move your feet forward. If that feels okay, you can put them completely straight. Okay? And you can I actually am hooking my elbows, I'm pushing my elbows into the roller to pull the back of my pelvis kind of open a little bit. And then I'm letting my gravity just like push my pelvis, my lower abdomen down. I'm going to scoop my feet into a butterfly position. And then you can kind of play around with where you're at on the roller. You can even kind of rotate a little bit. Oftentimes when I do this first thing in the morning, my hips will both massively pop. But it took me doing this probably a few months before I really was able to release my pelvis to where it pops every single time I do this in the morning now, which is great. That's an indication that things have softened up enough. Okay, and then I can even drag myself down and allow my pelvis to open through this area. Okay, and then you want to be very careful as you're coming off of it. So there's lots of other things we can do for the pelvis. I think sitting on top of it, crossing one leg over and rolling through your glute in this way is something that's really, really good. Another one though that I think is very, very useful is getting this inner thigh. So I'm actually gonna come on the roller like this. You can even bend your leg. Or actually, let me start with my legs straight, and I'm just gonna even sit on my heel like this and start to kind of move around, get my hip socket to loosen up and just kind of see, okay, this right here really feels like something. Actually, you're about to watch my body go through a somatic release through my leg. So see how my leg is starting to shake? This is a stress response that my body right now in this position feels safe enough to release. So my guess is that there was some stored tension somewhere here in my inner thigh. So you can see my body is wanting to shake it out. That's okay. Allow your body, as long as you feel safe, allow your body to let that happen. And the more I kind of turn, I feel something in the back of my pelvis almost catch a little bit, but it feels like something that needs to happen. So I'm just gonna find whatever position feels the safest for that. See if I can find it again. Oh, right there. And I would spend some time just sitting here and breathing through that. You can also come down on your forearms, kick this leg behind you, keep this knee bent, and roll through inner thigh. Every little teeny tiny angle that you change can drastically change what you feel. So make sure that you're really moving around and playing with things. But when you feel something, don't move, just sit there and breathe through it. Okay, I'm just gonna kind of see what I feel. And this is an example of what you can do for inner thigh. The pelvis, a lot of what needs to be released is like really up underneath the glute. So even having little lacrosse balls that you can sit on and do some work with is very healthy. Something else that you're gonna find to be a little silly, but is actually one of the best things you can do for your pelvic health, is come back to your back with your knees tucked up and using your fingers to feel your glutes, just kind of pressing around and seeing what areas need to be worked out there. And then you could kind of figure out, can I self-massage this? Do I need to sit on top of a lacrosse ball on that spot? But doing some what's the right word? Identifying with yourself through this area is actually super important for pelvic health. So something to note. A couple of other things that I think is important when we're talking about realigning the body in the way of, we've got the rib flare, we've got our pelvis tilted forward, is usually our shins. So let me do this one sideways. I'm gonna put one foot in front of me. Notice I'm sitting my butt all the way down. If this is a position that's difficult for you to access, use your hands. And I'm gonna put the roller all the way on my ankle so you can see this foot. And I'm gonna kind of go up through this part of my shin and ankle. I don't know if you heard that, it just popped. And I may need to flex and point this foot. I may need to do some twisting on it. Just kind of, again, listening to your body to see what areas it needs. And then I would do this on both sides. Sorry, this one's a little painful for me, so I'm trying to speak and breathe through the pain at the same time, like that. Okay, a couple other ones. So sitting on top of the roller. Okay. I'm gonna put my legs straight out in front of me. Again, if your mobility isn't as awesome, this might be a little bit more challenging to get to. If you need, you could put books or something here so that way you can actually hold on to something that's up here. If you can use the floor. And then I'm gonna start to roll backwards, and now I'm spreading my butt cheeks apart. This is pretty sensitive. So this is also going to stretch that under glute area that I was talking about earlier. You could even tilt your feet out. You could get into butterfly, or you can come here and then you could lean into one side, lean into the other. Something else that I like to do is getting the roller here. I'm gonna sit like this. My feet are tucked underneath me. And then this is probably more for those of you who have really good mobility. You don't need the roller if you don't have good mobility. Leaning back like this enough could stretch your quads, the front of your legs. Play around with scooping your butt up and in or letting it relax, see what you feel more. If you have really good mobility, you can lay all the way back on the roller and get a nice big stretch like that and see how that feels. And then again, just be very careful as you are coming up. One thing with the roller is I want you to get so intuitive with it. Challenge yourself. Every single time you're rolling, can you find a position you have never done before? Get so creative. Use walls, use doors, use couches, use tables as objects to kind of anchor yourself in different positions and allow gravity to do the work. So envision 2 sheets of tissue paper that are glued together, right? Let's say this is our body. This is the 2 tissue papers that are glued together, right? That's like the tissue inside of you. You want to drape that over the roller so that way gravity can do its job so that this bottom one unsticks like that. Does that make sense? Okay. So I hope this was really helpful. Please send me a message if you have any questions, and good luck on your foam rolling endeavor.